Thing started. Let's get this thing started, pimp. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is that you are listening to this episode. It is called Nip It in the Bud, mainly because Jay has some stuff he wants to get off his chest. Um, we're gonna jump around with a couple of topics while we wait on him to get come on into the room and get himself together. But love, peace, health, and success to everybody out there. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope life is treating you well. And if it isn't, I hope you find ways to, I hope you work on ways to get you into the position, into the proper place and proper happiness that you want to be in. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. All two fights I'm definitely looking forward to is the Fury Wilder fight, part three. And then I'm definitely looking forward to this Errol Spence Manny Pacquiao fight. In my honest opinion, I think that, or in my just my opinions, in my opinion, I think Errol is going to go for the knockout. Manny Pacquiao is a legend in the sport. He's been around since the '90s. I think he's fought in 4 decades. But I think the time has come for a new name to take hold of that crown that Manny Pacquiao has been wearing, and we may see it exchange bodies, forms, energy, vibrations uh, at the end of that fight with Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence is going to come in to that fight in tip-top shape. I think he will be a force to be reckoned with. I also think Errol, as he stated recently, that he is tired of the welterweight division and he's ready to go up. He's sick and tired of waiting around for Bud Crawford to get his shit together. And they don't seem to necessarily know what they want to do. And the Crawford camp seems to suffer from Stockholm syndrome, where the guy in charge beats them but still pays them. That's one of the ways to look at it. Or in his situation, his boss or his promoter shouldn't be your boss, but in the situation he's in, Bob Arum seems to call the shots and dictates what is going to happen with Terrence Crawford when he decides that it's going to happen. And that's not the way it's supposed to go. The promoter is supposed to promote. He's supposed to make the fights. And we haven't seen Bud Crawford since he moved up to the 147 division. We have not seen him take on the best challenges. He's taken on a Kell Brook who's been stopped in fights with Gennady Golovkin, a fight that I don't think he should have taken. And then he came back down, I guess, a year and a half, 2 years later, after having his face or his eye or orbital socket broken by Gennady Golovkin. Excuse me. He came back down to 147 where he held the IBF belt. And he fought Errol Spence, who stopped him in the 11th round after beating the fight out of Kell Brook and breaking his other orbital socket. So um, when you look at Terrence Crawford's resume at 147, it's okay when a guy takes one or two tune-up fights to get themselves ready and prepared. But when you look at his record, he hasn't faced a Danny Garcia. He hasn't faced a Keith Thurman. He doesn't have any top name at 147 on his record, which is why I don't understand what the hell the great Roy Jones was gibbering about. Like, I'm not sure where he got this opinion. Maybe because he likes Bud and he's probably did some work with Bud or whatever it is. You know how it is when people take sides for the guys that they like. in that situation, I get it, but come on, man. Roy Levester Jones Jr. Cut it out, bro. You 11. You a legend. 2-time undisputed light heavyweight champion. A former WBA heavyweight champion. Former 160-pound champion. Former 168-pound champion. But I don't know what the hell that is about. So, looks like Jay is ready. Looks like we're going to go ahead and get him on in here. Please hold.
Like I'm on. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the building. Please welcome the co-host, Jamie. What's up, my guy?
Man, nothing much, man. You know, crappy Chicago weather, but you know, it's all right.
Hey, man, you know what? I have no complaints, you know, as long as the weather is decent enough to go outside, and I'm all right.
That it is. Very true.
So this episode is called Nip It in the Bud. I think you were explaining right before we came on the air, you were watching some clips off of YouTube.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about Fight Hype and Fight Hub, and we had the conversation about, you know, what Loma said about the whole undisputed thing. The lightweight division, 135 pounds, just the nonsense there. You know, it was after the weigh-in with Nakatani, so I saw the weigh-ins today for both fights that are happening tomorrow. So, you know, hopefully it should be two pretty good fights. You know, all the fighters may weight. So
you think Loma can stop him, huh?
I think Loma can. Here's what I think. I think both the guys can stop each other. Loma has a superior boxing skill, and I think he could. The way I envision Loma winning is either outpointing the guy, outclassing him, and getting a unanimous decision, or if he's not able to do that, and Nakatani can make it a war, much like he did with Teofimo, much like he did with Verdejo. You know, it'll be a back and forth, knock him out, drag him out fight. I think Loma does what he does to most people, is just a overwhelming of punches, and so they stop the fight. Not that he knocks the guy and puts him out and he can't recover. It's just the overwhelming nature of which he throws punches.
The work
rate.
Guy
appears to be a little helpless. It's the work rate. Nakatani, I think if Nakatani catches him and hurts him, I think he can do the same thing to him that he did to Verdejo. I think it's a possibility.
Nakatani seems like fighter. He seems just very robotic to me.
He is robotic, but he's a robot. That's the thing. He's robotic in terms of his how he, the manifestation of his skills, right? Mm-hmm. How he moves in the ring. But he's still a robot in the sense of, I'm going to keep coming at you, you know, and it's just nonstop. And if you don't do enough to keep him off of you, he's going to keep coming.
Yeah, very true.
And so can Loma deliver enough meaningful blows to keep Nakatani off of him? Because we both know he can. I mean, he did it to Teofimo. He did it to Verdejo. I don't view Loma as a bigger puncher than either one of those guys. Again, he delivers punches from different angles, and you know, he can catch people off guard and hit you in shots you don't see. I get all that, and he's also a smaller guy. And Nakatani is a very tall, rangy fighter for that class. So it'll be a more interesting fight, more competitive fight than people think. It'll be a very interesting fight.
Yeah. I will have to. What I originally thought was that, you know, it would just go the distance, but we did, through the course of having conversation with you, and I was listening, I was like, man, you know what? If his engine, if Loma's engine if he starts out right away, that guy's not going to be able to keep up with that. I think he'll at some point he'll just go back to the corner and be like, yo, I can't keep moving like this.
He's not going to go out. No, he's Japanese. He's not.
You think he's going? You think he's going? On a sword?
You have to literally put the sword in there. You have to. Right. He's not going to quit. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So I think Loma is going to have to do it. The one way I see Loma doing it, he won't do it with head shots. He'll have to do it with body shots. I think his best his best opportunity for a stoppage, and also to keep Nakatani off of him at the same time, is to go to the body. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think it's gonna be a more competitive fight than what people think, though.
It just that I don't think it would be competitive. It's just that I would like to see. I mean, it's him coming back to boxing. So I like the skill set of Lomachenko. I just want to see him in there with the best guys, but he's basically done this to himself where he hasn't fought the best, So now at 130, 135, where the guys are the best, where the guys are the best, you've played this game and you've almost ruled yourself out. So, this is a fight that's a good fight to get him back, but I would like to see him step in there with. And did you see the clip where Loma was saying that? No, not. Yeah, Loma spoke on Gervonta Davis. Did you see that?
I saw when Loma spoke on Gervonta Davis, Tio, and he spoke on Devin Haney.
Okay, I didn't see that. I saw what he said. The fight that he's about to fight against Barrios is a good fight. But he said the guy's a knockout puncher. He's like, the guy throws a lot of punches. He doesn't fight nobody with any skill. Where's the skill? I want to see Gervonta fight somebody with some skill. So,
he said he didn't know. He's like, I don't know Barrios. He said, I don't know if he has skill. He's talking about he wants to see Tank fight somebody that everybody knows that has skill. So, of course, now Barrios can box. Is Barrios seen as a top flight boxer? Not necessarily, but he can box.
No.
So we'll see. And he did say, he said that he did say, hey, Tank's team is very smart. They know how to pick the right people.
Correct.
So he did say that much. I saw that part. As like to Teo, he just said, yeah, he is undisputed, but we know the politics behind that with Loma, because Loma has the inside track on the rematch. And Bob Arum just pretty much said that's what's going to happen if Teo gets past Kambosos. Because he already said, no, you're not fighting. Here's a funny thing. Want to hear something funny? Here's how you know what Bob thinks. Bob, he got caught up in this by Sean Zeitel. He said, Bob, for Loma, what's Loma's next fight if he gets past Nakatani? He said, well, you heard what Loma said about Devin Haney. So Loma said Devin Haney is a top boxer. He said he had an impressive performance against Linares. He said Linares also did very well and looked like he was at the top of his game when they fought. So he said he rather enjoyed the fight, and he gave Haney credit. He said Haney is a top boxer. He said that. He said he proved it. So then Bob, they were like, Bob, well, what do you think? He said, and Sean started throwing out names. He was like, you get this guy, you can get that guy. He brought up Haney. Yeah, we can make the fight potentially with Devin Haney too. Well, hold on. If you're top ranked and you can make Loma with Haney, how come you can't make Teo with Haney?
He's
the timing of it, and he's having a kid and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, no, but Teo's fight got pushed back, blah, blah, blah. So by the time he pushes back, the kid's gonna come, the kid will be born, maybe he can fight. He was like, no. Now that fight is pushed back, so everything else is gonna get pushed back. So we can't have a conversation about Haney with Teo. So it was just interesting how we got really in his feelings when he brought up Haney fighting Teo. But what he wants to do is he's okay with Loma potentially fighting Haney. And he said, well, we can negotiate, and everything has to be perfect and be right for me to even consider it. But no way would he do Teo and Haney.
Hell no. As long as those belts are involved, he's not going to do anything like that. Bob does not want to relinquish those belts. He want to keep as many belts as he can.
He wants to keep them in house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to keep them in house. And that's about this. That's interesting. That's what I saw at the clips earlier.
Yeah.
And obviously, he also interviewed, as we get into nip it in the bud, the part that set me off when I hit you is he interviewed Bomac.
It's amazing how everybody would just, like, they pass the blame around. Like, no one just takes credit and just says, you know what? We may have made some bad decisions, or we didn't talk some of these things through, but we got to go back to the drawing board or sit back down at the table.
Here's how it started. He was like, and he asked him boxing questions. You ask about Wilder Fury, you ask about Gervonta Barrios. He said, what do you think about Spence Pacquiao. Oh man, you got to ask me that question. It's boxing. He asked everybody the same questions, and he was just like, man, fuck Errol Spence, fuck that fight, you know. And that was his energy. And you hear all the excuses. I don't even want to get into all the excuses. It's just that energy is a bad look on his team. How can you say F that fight when those are the two guys that you say you wanted to fight?
Correct.
And then when you couldn't get your way business-wise and you couldn't strong arm your way because the public was not on your side thinking you deserve 50-50. Not even Timothy Bradley, Andre Ward said you deserve that amount. And so then you got in your feelings and now you want to blame everybody. Meanwhile, your promoter does three things. The fight you've been trying to get, again, you're going to say, Bomac, you say F that fight. You've been trying to chase Pacquiao down for 5-6+ years. And you're saying, well, Al, the black man, is holding me back. Al's is in PBC. How can he say Al is holding him back when it was Bob Arum who literally said, I didn't want to make that fight. Initially, I didn't like that fight for Manny because I was concerned about Manny. I didn't make that fight. Then the next thing is, we have investors. Then it's Abu Dhabi. It's Dubai. But then basically,
any major fight for Bud, he's done that. Any major fight, right. Any fight concerning Bud moving forward and becoming a household name or furthering his career, he has personally blocked it. He at one point even said that no one even knows if Al Heyman is a real person because they haven't seen it.
And Earl called him out on that when him and Bud had that epic back and forth, in a hallway, I think at a venue where there was a fight. And, Bob came over there and he said, well, you the one who said Al ain't even real. How you gonna make a fight with somebody that you said it doesn't exist?
And Errol said, I got him on speed. What is it, speed dial or whatever in my back pocket. I know who Errol is. We all know who he is, motherfucker. And like you just ain't making fights.
And I see all the little the fanboys, the Bud fanboys on YouTube. Oh, let me show you how it's not true that Errol Carrick did the heavy lifting. Look, what I'm really noticing about Bud people is they can't make an argument for him. They always try to make an argument against Spence, and the argument against Spence is devoid of facts and reason.
Because it's all excuses.
Right, so it's excuses. So Bob can say, I'm not going to give him that fight. I'm not going to invest in that fight. Middle Eastern investors backed out. No, Spence doesn't want that fight. All these excuses about everybody else, but you can make Wilder Fury. You can make Wilder Fury, but you can't make Crawford Spence. So you can't make Crawford Porter. You can't make Crawford Thurman. You can't make Crawford. To me, it should be like like a lawsuit, like a brief. How they had the pamphlet for a court case. It should be Crawford versus competition.
Man.
Right. And so it's just crazy, all the excuses and the lack of accountability from his team. I actually cannot blame Bob. So I'm going to call Errol out. You can't blame Bob. Bob has been very, very transparent. So you have to ask yourself, he re-up once. Bob is hinting that he's going to re-up again. If he does, then it's not Bob. It's Terrence Bud Crawford.
It's him as we speak, or whoever it is, his management team, whoever it is.
It's him.
They're doing a bad job.
He's the one in the ring. It's his legacy. When, 10, 20 years from now, nobody's talking about Bomac. Nobody's talking about whoever his team is. They're going to talk about who did Bud fight and who didn't Bud fight.
Yep.
And so it's on him, and he knows better. And so I'm wondering, what is it with him that he doesn't want to face top-notch competition? And there aren't any politics. People claim it's politics. No, there's no any politics with this. This is business. The reason why there's no politics is because it makes business sense. It's a big money fight.
You can't say it's COVID because we're seeing 10,000 tickets
Right.
sellers. We seen
Right.
Devin Haney do what 5 to 7,000. Just to
Well,
get
just
him
look at all
going.
these fights being booked. You
You
got
seen
the
Canelo
Moss
do
fight. Yeah,
73.
Canelo. Yeah. So what you have to understand is that you're hearing all the excuses. You're hearing a lack of accountability from him and his team. And they always want to say Spence, because to me they're kind of they're what do you call it, clout chasing, because Spence has the energy, right?
To me, it's just
He's
that I call it
he's
Adam
a
and Eve
top guy.
syndrome, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't eat
but
that. She gave me the apple. I didn't, that's all it is. Like, just admit that you
so
fucked up.
okay, the pandemic is over. Okay, you had the excuse you didn't want to pay Thurman, you didn't want to pay Porter because of the pandemic. Well, guess what? They're fighting in arenas now. Bud has Loma fighting in a live crowd. So the question is, why can't you make Bud Thurman now? How come you can't make Bud Porter now? What are the excuses? So if you're Bud, I don't believe Sean Porter should be apologizing. I wouldn't apologize to Bud the way he came and did it. He wants to fight, Bud, you
He
gonna fight
wanted
him or
to
not?
fight. Like, come on, man.
So now we're looking at it. It's post-pandemic in the sense of in the fight game, you can have live gate and all of that. And you say, okay, he talked to him. Well, I'm working on something. And I'm working on something was Pacquiao. Well, we know that was all hot air and smoke. Pacquiao's booked for August 21st versus Errol Spence. We now know the venue, T-Mobile Arena. All right. So the question is, if we know that, why, if you're available, Thurman's available, Porter's available, hell, Boots is available.
Yeah.
All these guys are available. Ugas is available.
Yes.
All these guys are available.
He needs a dance partner.
Why the hell are we hearing Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, and Jose Zepeda? Again, to the Bud fanboys and to Bud, the Bomac and his whole team, and to Omaha,
the Bud tenders,
it's like, come on, man. Like, there are no politics here. You can fight whoever you want to fight. You're a champion. You're on a pound for pound list. But the same thing you saying about Canelo, you are guilty of. When is the last time you fought an elite Black fighter?
That's a fact. That is a fucking fact. And we'll wait. Where my watch at?
Oh, we'll wait. I mean, now what he said about Canelo is true. When's the last time Canelo fought an elite? Hell, when's the last time Canelo fought an elite fighter? Now, we know the UK, which does a great job in PR, hyped up Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith. Neither one of them are elite fighters. They just aren't. But look, we get the marketing on that. And, this is not about Canelo. We can do something else on Canelo another time. But Bud hasn't fought an elite Black fighter. He hasn't.
Nope.
Now, let's go on the other side. Let's look at Errol Spence. Who did Errol Spence fight? Oh, Errol Spence did fight an elite Black fighter. He fought Sean Porter.
Yeah.
Sean Porter's a two-time champion.
Most Keith Thurman, Ugas, Porter, those would be great fights for Bud. How come they can't get made? Like, I don't it's not even up for me to understand. To me, there is an understanding that someone doesn't want those fights to happen.
Want to make the fight. And I just wish people should flat out say it. There are no politics. There are no politics in it. Wilder's PBC. Fury's top rank. They're about to fight.
They're about to fight, pimp.
Guess what? They fought 3 times. That was an arbitration hearing, but they fought 3 times. How can 2 guys go across the street and fight 3 times? So we know.
And then he himself said there ain't no across the street.
Yeah.
He said there ain't no across the street. So what's the point? What's the point in saying something like that if you're not pushing for the fight?
So you can have the fight. And on the business side, you hear the Bud fanboys like, look, let's not have a conversation. Again, you and I talked about it. We went to Box Rec. We pulled up their last 5, 6 people they fought. It's no comparison. So I'm not even going to entertain that debate with the fake people who don't know anything about boxing or competition. But I'm really starting to completely tune out Bud Crawford. If he look, you can make whatever business decision you want to make.
Yeah.
I do not begrudge him for making a business decision and staying with Top Rank. If he likes to guarantee money, that's his business. More power to you, black man. What I will not tolerate as a fight fan and as a grown man with common sense is that you then go on TV, on YouTube or wherever else, and you talk about don't nobody want to fight you. See, that's the cap I don't like. And that's my problem with him and his team, bro. And so I just think we need to nip it in the bud amongst the whole fight fan community, especially the black fight fan community.
Yeah.
And just call a spade when it comes to Bud Crawford.
Like, my man, you just don't want to fight. Because we gotta put it in your lap and say that you don't want to fight, because at this point we all know fighters can make fights. We all know fighters can get in contact with each other and say, yo, I want to make this fight right here. I want to do this right here. And we know what's been happening. Tyson Fury was welcomed back by Deontay Wilder in 2 fights. He wouldn't have had no other fights. He'd have sat around, I guess, gaining weight till he got to 500 pounds. So we know that. Who else is a fighter that told somebody that they wanted to fight? I think J-Rock and somebody was able to talk behind the scenes and make a fight. So fights can be made. It's just up to a fighter to say, yeah, I want that fight. And when we have seen Errol Spence win against Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Lamont Peterson, and whoever else is on his record at the top, his last 5 fights. We've seen these guys step up and take the fights. We haven't seen Terrence Bud Crawford face a guy of note, a noteworthy fighter at 147 since he's been there. Someone tried to argue me down about Kell Brook, and I said, well, you know what? The situation with Kell Brook is that he's and no disrespect to him, but he's kind of like out of the game. He's kind of washed up. Like, you had one eye surgery to repair one eye because you went up 2 weight classes at 160 to fight Gennady Golovkin. All right. And then it took you a year and a half to finally come to terms that you had to defend your IBF belt and come back down to 147 and fight a surging Errol Spence Jr., who said, I will go to England and take the fight. And when I get there, I will stop Kell Brook. And he did. He broke his orbital socket and the fight was stopped in the 11th round.
The other one.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the same one. The other one. He broke the other eye socket. And it was a war of attrition. If you watch that fight, both those guys look like they probably have problems with weight, losing weight correctly and trying to keep it off, especially even at the last hour. So we know there were issues there, and then he hurts and stops Kell Brook, and then Bud gets in the ring, and then we're supposed to hand him all this gratitude and elation, I should say, not gratitude, elation for winning the fight when it's a guy that we already knew was damaged goods.
So here's the thing, though. What about Bud people, right? You're only as good as your last fight. So
yes.
after Kell Brook lost to Errol Spence, who did he fight? What was his performances like? What was his record? Did he have any knockouts?
We haven't heard nothing from Kell Brook since that fight.
Oh, wow. You know what? Since he lost that fight, he didn't even fight at 147. He fought at 154. Did he fight anybody highly touted at 154? Did he fight Jermell Charlo?
No, he's not. Kell Brook isn't going to fight anybody.
Did he fight Julian J. Rock Williams? Did he fight Jared Hurd? Did he fight Louis Arias? Did he fight anybody that means anything at 154? So to the Bud people, he lost at 160, daring to be great, came back to 147, lost, never fought at 147 again until he fights your guy, Bud. What happens in between?
154 pounders, guys that you could whoop on.
guys who were club fighter level guys who he should have in his prime he would have beat, and he wasn't the same Kell Brook. Kell Brook lost his top level, half of it to Triple G, the other half of it to Errol Spence, and he was done. He was done. And so, yeah, it's a name. You know, Canelo got some names. Did Canelo fight the best Shane Mosley? No, he did not. We know
Fuck
this.
no, he was a 40-year-old.
Did he fight the best Miguel Cotto? No, he didn't fight the best
No.
Miguel Cotto.
Miguel was on his way out. That was his last fight.
Again, you know, there's some slick stuff. Now, was Kell on his way out the game when Errol fought him? No, he was undefeated at 147. He beat Sean Porter. Then he dared to be great, lost to Triple G. And then when he got that fight with Errol, that took the rest of his career out of him at the elite level.
In my opinion,
yeah.
I think all that was done to avoid fighting Errol Spence. Even though he was daring to be great, I think he was doing a lot of that to avoid Errol.
Bud ducked Errol Spence from the jump. You were 140. You come to 147, but you fight Jeff Horn.
I'm speaking about Kell Brook first, but that situation was so he didn't have to fight Errol.
Right. So you look at it, when he came up, all the guys who were ranked and who were welterweights were on the PBC side. Right. So you got Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. Let's call them the four kings.
Yeah.
Let's call them that. And he clearly knew that. But he strategically came up to 147 and he fought a Jeff Horn who had a decision that was stolen from Manny Pacquiao.
Facts.
So we have to ask ourselves, let's look at Bud. There's competition over here and more belts and more glory. Or there's this guy named Jeff Horn who got a lopsided, a crazy, bogus decision over Pacquiao who has zero skill. Which one is the easier path? Where's the best competition? Where's the inferior competition? Bud chose the inferior competition. These are just facts. I would like to hear the Bud boys say, "Oh, Jeff Horn is world class." What are you talking about?
Who has Jeff Horn fought since that fight?
Who did Jeff Horn fight before he even got the Pacquiao fight?
I definitely have no idea.
Jeff Horn ain't fought nobody but Pacquiao. He lost that fight. He fought Crawford and he got his ass whooped. But guess what? Jeff Horn got his ass whooped by Keith Thurman,
yes,
Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and Errol Spence. So when we talk about what Bud has done at 147, he's done absolutely nothing.
Nada.
And I'm gonna be blunt. I have respect for Bud as a fighter. I have the eye test. I see him. He's got talent. But when I look at what choices you make, it tells me something about who you are and what you think about yourself. So at 147, he wasn't sure of himself. That's why he took the low-hanging fruit. Now, he took that low-hanging fruit, a few years ago, 3 years ago. He's still doing the same move. So to me, let's not even talk about Errol Spence. You won't even fight Sean Porter.
Yeah.
You won't even fight Keith Thurman.
And my thing about it, when he first got there, he took the Jeff Horn fight. I'm like, all right, cool. He gonna go get the belt, maybe fight another guy, tune up and warm up to make sure he got the weight under control. And then he'll start getting them guys out of there. And he didn't. It was an opposite move. Like, I'll take that guy and that guy. And it was cherry picking.
So let's nip it in the bud. So what I want to ask to Bomac, even Bud himself, all his supporters, and I'm a Bud supporter. I like him as a fighter. And I actually like him as a person. But I just don't like all the cap. I would have nothing to say if it wasn't all this nonsense about, oh, I'm being blocked, or oh, I'm being avoided, I'm being ducked. Nobody's ducking you, bro. You ducked. So I want to hear the Bud guys say, oh yeah, what Bud went through, there was way more competition on the top rank side. No, I want to hear somebody make that argument.
And then, the other part is that, you got your promoter that's lying to you and you believe him. You believe him when he says that Errol Spence is ducking Bud Crawford. You believe that.
I don't know. I don't think he believes it. I'm gonna tell you why I don't think he believes it. Because anytime the guy blatantly says the best opportunity you could have had in your boxing career, oh, I just took that away from you. How do you not hear that? Oh, so because you so fond of Manny Pacquiao, you were afraid to match it with me, so you took that opportunity off the plate from me. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao leaves, was here all these years, leaves, goes to PBC without Heyman, and he's fighting my rival at 42.
At 42.
When he could have fought him when Pacquiao was in his mid to late 30s.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So how do you not hear that, see that? When it's like Deontay said, it's like Wilder said, Ron Palmer, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. It's like, then to add the icing on the cake. Well, Crawford, I ain't making any money. I could have had a mansion in Malibu for the money I lost on him. You got your promoter, whose job it is to promote you, telling you that you're losing him money. So we have all of that data and information. Oh, let's go again. Oh, we're going to make the Pacquiao fight. We're going to make the Pacquiao fight.
And you supposed to make that fight for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
But
man.
you still didn't make the Pacquiao fight again. So you have 3 key, clear, irrefutable instances.
And that's a fight that we know would sell tickets, even during the midst of COVID. We know that would sell tickets.
Right. And so you can't say Manny ducked you, because Manny said, okay, if you like anything else, you put the money up, I'll fight. Same thing with Earl. The reason why Manny's fighting Earl was because he went to Al, said, I'll take Errol Spence. And this is how much I want for it. And Al said, okay, cool. We'll get the money.
Yeah.
And
I heard, did you hear how it happened?
I didn't hear how it happened.
They said
Earl talked about it, but I kind of missed.
They said on Pacquiao's side, it was a list of names, and they dwindled it down to the people that could pay for it. And at the top, Earl was one of the names. And they said, Manny, he'll fight you. They can put the money up. And he said, they said he just, all he did was nod. He said, yes. And he gave him the paper back. And he said, just make sure the money is good. And that was it.
Yeah.
And the guy that was talking about, he said, I work closely with them. He said, Manny looks at the list of names and he wants to know how much can be made for the fight. And he saw that Earl and them could pay that tab, and he jumped on it. So I'm guessing it was around 30 to 40 million, somewhere in between there. He gonna get his money. And I'm quite sure we'll have to say that Errol Spence is the B fighter in this situation, not by skill set, but as far as main event,
as far as
business goes,
standing in the industry, as far as business goes, the economics.
Yes,
he is the B side, and he's perfectly fine with being the B side.
Hell yeah!
Because note to Terrence Crawford, this is how you become the A side. This is how Mayweather became the A side. He beat Oscar De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya had all the concessions.
Yeah. Once he beat Oscar, Floyd was always the A side. Let me tell you something now. This even goes for Canelo. Errol Spence beat Manny Pacquiao. Errol Spence will always be the A side.
Yeah, it's a wrap after that.
Because I see what Canelo's doing, but it's what have you done for me lately? And if Earl beats Manny, then we can say, well, Canelo, what icon have you beaten? Oh, you haven't. Damn. So it looked like you the B side.
You know what he's gonna bring up? He's gonna bring up Miguel Cotto.
Well, look, Miguel Cotto, how many years ago was that? And that's, again, what have you done for me lately? Current economics.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he could say, oh, I bring the whole country of Mexico.
Yeah, you do. You do.
And you know what? Errol will say, I can too. I got a whole state that used to be part of Mexico.
Facts.
And
you fight in my hometown.
And you fighting in my country. And I got New York, and I guess what? I got a large portion of the African-American population supporting me. So
yeah. And I got Texas, Dallas, and Houston riding with me.
Exactly. and my pay-per-view numbers have been better than yours.
Yeah. So talk, pimp. But that fight ain't gonna never happen unless it's
it's never gonna happen because Canelo's not gonna come down to 160.
And I just saw the clip of Errol. He said, "I'll go to 160 and I'll fight him," but
he
I
said
ain't
he ain't
going
going above 168. Yeah. So that fight will never happen. And Canelo will never allow it to happen because he see how Floyd is able to parlay it. Canelo knows the power. It would actually be it would be equally great for Earl because Floyd beat Pacquiao and Canelo, right? But if Earl beat Canelo and Pacquiao, it's gonna have even more value because nobody can say Canelo was green. You can't have that he was so young. And if you say, "Oh, well, Pacquiao's old," oh no, he isn't. He beat Keith Thurman.
Correct. He was active, and he fought an active fighter or a guy coming back.
Nobody out here saying, "Oh, this Earl, Pacquiao's over the hill. He's off the cliff." Nobody's saying that.
No one's saying that at all. No, you can't say that. You can't say that.
So Canelo doesn't want to give Earl that opportunity because if he loses and Earl beats Pacquiao and Canelo, that's a problem. So either way it goes, I just think that, to wrap this up with on Bud, man, he's about to be 34 years old.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's sad. It's really sad. And the sad part is, look, you can do whatever you want to with your career. I respect all fighters who get in the ring and they risk their lives and put in the work, blood, sweat, and tears, all of that. But on the like sporting side, when you're dealing with fans and people who support the industry, which is the reason why you make the millions and millions of dollars, quit selling us a false bill of goods, man. Like, stop it. Stop lying, especially to your own people. Stop doing it. Because all the Bud people are lying. And I'm going to call them to their face. They're all liars. Because there are absolutely no excuses. There are no excuses. There's no excuse for you not to have fought a Sean Porter. Sean Porter trying to make a fight with you. Let's forget Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman can be slick, elusive. I want 10 million. You can come on, and I still think you make a fight easy with Keith Thurman. He's thirsty. But how can you not make the fight with Sean Porter? But you'll give Amir Khan
$7-8 million for that fight.
$7-8 million. But you'll give Amir Khan $7-8 million.
Bro. How do you not recognize that a fight with Keith Thurman or Sean Porter will sell tickets? How do you keep Amir Khan?
Not only sell tickets, it'll give credibility, and that's how the game is done. If you were trying to chase the person at the top, you do what everybody's done. You fight the competition they fought, and you beat them worse than they beat them. Oh, we did that to Kell Brook. Nah, competition. Kell Brook wasn't competition. Fight Sean Porter. Nobody thinks Sean Porter is diminished goods.
No, absolutely not.
Fight Sean Porter. I didn't even give him credit for fighting Danny Garcia, even though I think Danny's heart isn't all the way in it right now. But I give him a little more credit. That'd be more.
Do you think that's a fight that Danny would get up for though? Because it is.
I think Danny to me is. He'll stay in the game as long as he can protect himself and make really good paydays. Danny has the look of me of, for the right price, you can get my name on there, but it's got to be the right price, and it's got to be a situation to where I know I'm gonna walk out okay. And so if he got the right money, yeah, but then getting in, why fight a Danny Garcia when you can fight a Sean Porter?
Yeah.
Everybody would view Sean Porter as a liver dog. You get way more credit. So if you're Bud and you're like, man, I just want to show people I'm the best. I want my credit. I want to get my due. I want my respect. Fight Sean Porter.
Man, and can you imagine a fight with Sean Porter where he's actually able to breeze through that fight?
Yeah, if he breaks Sean Porter down
Woo,
and destroys him, or
woo.
even if he goes through a war with Sean Porter and comes out on top, he's going to get his respect. And so
Hell of a lot of respect.
we have to ask ourselves, why doesn't he do it?
Stop lying to the boxing community, y'all. Come on, bud
Stop
tenders.
lying.
Come on,
Stop
bud
lying.
tenders. Cut that shit out. Stop
Bomac,
it.
stop lying. His whole little team out there, stop lying. There are no excuses. Yeah, we hear what Bob is doing, and we don't even address that, which is a problem. That's a red flag anyway. But Bob, he's your promoter. He's supposed to work for you. Or is it
That's
the
the
other way
thing.
around?
Out of everything you said, that's the thing I want to add to this with the bud tenders and nipping in the bud. Anytime, and Errol Spence said this, and that's what I was glad Errol said it. Errol said, anytime somebody, a fighter or media mentions Bud's name, he attacks them. He attacks them, but let Bob say something about him. He'll just go, oh, that's just Bob being Bob. So it's okay for that white man to say and talk all types of shit about you. But when we give you constructive criticism or we say we're over the bullshit, then you attack us and say that we're part of the problem and not part of the solution. When you are the problem and the solution in the whole scenario, all you got to do is tell that old man that I want to fight. Well, I ain't fighting no more. Or just say, hey, let me get about this contract. I'll have somebody else sit down with you and get up and help me out with it. But you attack the media instead of listening to the constructive criticism and let us open your ears or open your eyes and get it on your mind that, hey, it's something going on that ain't right with your situation, dog.
You know what? Bob is letting us know something. The older he gets, the more he's putting out there, dropping little nuggets and breadcrumbs.
Yeah, that too.
He don't work for them. They work for him.
That's a fact.
Teofimo, Vasyl Lomachenko, Bud Crawford, they're all top-ranked employees. Example. Well, what about Devin Haney? Teo said he wants Devin. I don't care what he wants. He literally said this. He said,
Bob
I don't care
said
what
that.
he wants. Yeah,
Bob said that.
Bob said, I don't care what he wants. Let's think about that. You're somebody's promoter, and the whole theory is, well, you execute the fights they want to do. If they really want to fight, you're supposed to make it happen. But he says, I don't care what he wants. Damn, like that
says a lot.
Shit.
That says a lot.
So you hear this in your Teofimo, Bud Crawford, and you know this, and you go and you re-sign anyway. So what does that tell us? It tells us they like the comfort and the protection of being a top-ranked employee. Let's look at the other way around. The other top fighters who were with Top Rank that left. Let's use Floyd Mayweather. In order for him to get the big fights, to secure his legacy, to build his brand, he had to leave Top Rank. He bought himself out of his contract.
Yep.
So if Floyd can do it, why wouldn't they do it? So Floyd did it because he wasn't looking for the protection. He was chasing the money, so he had to take some risk. What it looks like what these guys are doing is playing it safe. And they have the corporate protection of one Bob Arum Top Rank and his TV partner, because you got the TV media and mainstream, which he's got a mainstream media party in ESPN. They will all collude to perpetrate the fraud, to act like some shit is happening that just isn't real. Oh, Bud Crawford's the most avoided fighter. Lie. Oh, Bud wants to fight everybody. They don't want to fight him. Lie.
Ain't nobody.
They're across the street.
No boxer ducking you, dog.
Yeah. Oh, they're across the street. We can't make that fight. Oh, but they tuned into Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3. You just contradicted yourself. But you got ESPN doing this. So they look at it, they say, it's like that Trump shit. It's like, that's why everybody with Trump get in trouble. They see Trump on that bullshit, they think they can do the same thing. right? Trump get away with everything. Look at Rudy. Rudy thought he could say whatever he did. New York just taxed his ass, and he
Right.
got they about to disbar his ass. He got suspended. So what they do is they see what Bob doing. Like, damn, Bob got ESPN over here capping. He got Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith on First Take capping. He got Joe Tessitore and Andre Wood and Timothy Bradley doing some capping.
Acting
You
a
got all these
fool.
people capping. You got people in mainstream, the athletic, and all these other, boxing, ring, and all these people capping. Hell yeah, if I got all that layer of protection, if I got all of that BS PR machine, if I have stopped the steal,
Right.
then
I
yeah,
must be protected.
I'm protected. I'm good.
Shit.
See, the problem is that the real ones know and they see, and we see by the moves you make. And much like what's happening in other people who do all that capping, the house of cards will fall. And so they're slowly but surely falling for Bud, no matter how much he gets angry, his people yap and talk about Spence, Al him and the black man, Errol Spence, he don't want to fight, blah, 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 blah. Errol's fighting Manny Pacquiao.
The fight that you wanted for the last 5 years.
You're not.
Lord have mercy.
Manny Pacquiao is fighting Errol Spence, and you're not.
Something to be said about that. Something to be said about that. That is very clear. That is like the most clear shit in the world, man.
The shit is so clear. I'm taking these glasses off for the rest of the podcast.
Man, it doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense, but
no, it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's just like they don't make sense. Like, how are you?
They make sense too. Here's the sense they make. We can lie to people. They don't know any better. They're gonna believe it.
You can lie to your fans.
Right. And we can still make some money and sell this false bill of goods without taking risk. Again, it's business, right? In business, if you can make a profit and reduce your risk, that's what most businesses do. So boxing in a lot of its parts is not even a sport anymore. It's purely a risk management business. And you have certain elements and factions within boxing that are focused more so on risk management and the risk management business part of boxing than they are the actual sport and competition. These are just the facts.
Yeah, he's in a bad situation, man.
He's not. No, I'm not gonna say it anymore. He's not in a bad situation. He's in a great situation
for himself.
What he wants.
Yeah,
that's what he wants.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad for him anymore.
No, I ain't saying I feel bad. Yeah, I'm not saying I feel bad.
This is what he wants. He wants to not fight Pacquiao. He wants to not fight Spence. He wants to not fight elite competition. This is what he wants. Because if he wanted something different, he would do something about it.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah, they say that's a part of greatness, right? To get something different, you gotta to get something better, you might have to do something different to get different results or whatever it is. But
it's like anything in life, man. You can sit back and you can whine about something, or you can do something about it. And so what I'm noticing is that him and his people, they ain't doing nothing about it.
Not a goddamn.
And so to me, if you don't do nothing about it, that means you're okay with the circumstances and conditions.
Because it's easy to see that it's wrong.
Yeah.
All the business is fucked up.
I'm not, well, it's all fucked up. Not just the business, but also as a boxer, it's fucked up. We know you don't want to go against Top Comp. We know you don't. I don't have to guess. At first, I was like, I didn't know. Let me give it a chance. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, now I know. I know for a fact now.
Yeah, because I was sitting there like, nah, give him some time, man. Like, he just needs to get that shit sorted out. And then you see Errol going, no, I think it was Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. And then it was that round robin that they had going on. And then Errol came in. and then it was Keith Thurman before that, and then Earl jumped in the mix of that and said, "All right, I'm about to shut all this shit down. I'm about to whoop everybody. Fuck Keith Thurman, because I ain't
Yeah.
fucking with him. But I'm about to whoop the rest of y'all ass and let people know that I am the most dominant and most prestigious person at 147. And anybody else that don't believe it, then fight me. Step in the ring and show me."
Now I'm gonna show you how blasphemous, as we wrap this, I'm gonna show you how blasphemous the industry is. Blasphemous. After Errol Spence stops Manny Pacquiao on August 21st, common sense.
Wait. Say that again, though.
After Errol Spence stops Manny Pacquiao on August 21st.
Say it one more time.
After Errol Spence stops Manny Pacquiao on August 21st, you would think that would make Earl pound for pound top. We know he's in the top 3. So we look at Bud, who he's fought. Let even narrow down. I don't even go pound for pound because that means I don't want to do it. In a way, I'm giving more and more respect to him. I don't want to deal with the Canelo thing. Let's keep it strictly 147 pounds. We're going to have a debate on who's the best at 147. So to me, there's no debate already right now who's the best at 147. Errol's fought tougher competition. Terrence Bud Crawford hasn't. Facts. So I'm gonna judge you by your competition. So if he stops Pacquiao, when he does on the 21st, watch what ESPN does. This is what I want everybody who's watching this
or
to
listening.
Just watch or listening to listen and observe the fuckery. Because you're gonna have a guy who would beat an 8 division icon who beat Keith Thurman. You can't, on one hand, oh, Manny Pacquiao is one of the greatest. Oh, he just beat Keith Thurman. And then when Errol stops him, oh, he's old. Oh, no, that wasn't a good fight. Can't have it both ways. Everybody's already told you what they thought about Manny Pacquiao. What do they say? You can never count Manny Pacquiao out. That's everybody's favorite quote.
Yes.
So guess what? We not going to count him out until the ref does on August 21st, after 10. That's when it's going to get counted out. And then let's see what they do. Now, we know what's going to happen. Well, it's disputable. He beat Pacquiao. He stopped him. Pacquiao he hit the cliff that fight. You never know when the age catches up. But he hasn't fought Bud Crawford yet. So guarantee you that's going to be the talk track. They already got it working.
Errol was too young. Errol was too young. Errol was too young. Errol was too old. Errol was in his prime, not too young. Errol was in his prime. Manny had been off for 2 years. It's gonna be a bunch of shit. But...
So which one would you rather do? Hold on, which one would you rather do? Beat Keith Thurman, pandemic, be off for 2 years, or would you rather flip a Ferrari over, have all your teeth knocked out your mouth, and come back and fight Danny Garcia, and then your next fight is Manny Pacquiao? Which one is the tougher road?
Man, either one is a tough road, but I was taking that Errol Spence road. Is tough.
It's tougher. And so now let's look at Bud's path. Kell Brook.
Aegis Kavaliauskas. Aegis Kavaliauskas. Ain't he fighting this weekend or something like that?
Nah, he's fighting Virgil next.
Oh,
Mean Machine and Virgil are gonna fight next. So just these are just the facts, and people need to get out their feelings and just call a spade, and
I think at one point we said something about the rankings at 147. We say we could actually argue a top 5 without even mentioning his name. You could go Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Jaron Ennis.
Yeah, at this point, I'm going to say, and here's where I'm going to give credit to Boots, because it's who you fight, but it's also who you have the opportunity to fight. Boots is willing to fight any and everybody. They're turning him down.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm going to give him credit on my list. So to me, my top 5 are Errol Spence, Sean Porter, then Boots.
Okay. Okay.
Then Keith Thurman, and then Danny Garcia.
Okay. But all I'm
Because
saying is I
yeah,
could name five without throwing them in there, and then I
yeah,
would throw Ugas in there just because Ugas
yeah.
fault.
And I would throw Ugas in there because again, Ugas fought Porter. Who's fought the better competition? And Jaron Ennis has fought better competition at 147 than Bud Crawford. He's called out. He's called out Bud. He's called out Errol. He's willing to fight anybody. They're all telling him no. Now, Errol is different because Errol's chasing get Pacquiao. We can't argue that.
No, you can't.
What do we do? What about Sean Porter? Okay, Sean, I'm not fighting him. Now, Sean Porter, I kind of get it. He's like, I was just in there mixing it up. I had a close fight with Errol. I'm right at that level. I'm not going to go back. I'm going to go forward. Kind of get that. Keith Thurman, you lost to Pacquiao. You fell off. No excuses. Ugas, you're trying to get the fight with Spence, but you can't. I get it, you're trying to hold your position, but you could fight Boots. Danny Garcia, you lost to Spence. You can fight Boots. You know, you can't have that position where you lost to Porter, you lost to Thurman, and now you lost to Spence. There's nowhere else for you to go on 47. You got to fight Boots, but he's not going to fight Boots.
No.
So that's why I put Boots above them. And I'm only giving Sean Porter really the only exception because he did have a tough fight with Earl. And he has tried to make the fight with Crawford. So I give him credit for that. So, and he's had a couple fights since then, and he's won his fights. So I'm gonna give him the credit, put him in there number 2. You know, now eye test plus what you've proven, I would say it would be Earl, Bud, Porter Boots, or Boots Porter, however you want to interchange those. That's how I would put it in terms of what my eyes tell me. And Boots could be all the way up there, but I need to see him beat somebody at the Garcia, Thurman, Porter level before I'm ready to put him up there with Bud and Earl yet, in terms of the eye test. Now, he's more willing than Bud, but we'll see. So, you know.
Well, I'll say this, man. The kid passes.
He definitely passed the eye test.
He ain't no test he's not gonna pass. Whoever end up in there with him, you're gonna have a hard night. You're gonna have a hard night.
I only think it's one guy who could actually go the distance with him and make it a competitive fight, and that's Earl.
Yeah.
I think that's the only guy at 147 who can give him any competition. That's it. Because he's physically strong enough and his technique is sound. And he's not headhunting. Boots is very elusive and can move, but Earl goes to the body.
Boots will go to the body too, though.
Boots will go to the body too, and Earl takes a good shot. Earl gives one. He's fundamentally sound, and he's just a strong guy at that weight division. So,
and Earl, man, the other thing about Earl is he practices. From what I understand, they practice to be perfect. Like Derrick James doesn't like for Errol to make mistakes. And when they do while he's training, he makes them go back and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And I seen him explain it yesterday on YouTube. He said, the thing about it is, if I see the mistake, imagine the corner across the way sees what I saw. Exactly. So now that they saw it, if Earl decides, that's a hiccup, he said, well, they didn't catch it, I'll do it again the next round, or they won't catch it the next round. And if they're watching like I'm watching, they'll know when to step it up and push him into that same mistake again. So I like the fact that he says he strives to make Earl as streamlined and as correct as possible. But here's the other thing I need people to know about Errol Spence. Don't let that Southern drawl and that real cool, calm demeanor fool y'all, man. Earl is a nasty motherfucker, man. He is nasty. And I'm going to confirm or reaffirm what he said. He said Manny Pacquiao got job food. He don't have me food. He said that man got over 70 fights and a lot of knockouts. He ain't that goddamn nice in the ring.
No, he's exactly.
So that's a confirmation and some affirmation about what's going on and what's taking place.
Yeah, I
Errol
mean,
is
Earl
not.
has bad
Errol's a
intentions.
yes. He's a
He's got
dog.
bad intentions because guess what? Manny Pacquiao has bad
Oh yes,
intentions.
sir. Oh yes, sir. But the thing about this fight, coming up, is Earl is doing strength and conditioning training, and I'm quite sure Blu-ray is gonna do a video tonight. I'm quite sure he's gonna do a video and say, "Yo, I just got out the gym with this motherfucker, man. Let me tell y'all something." All right, so strength and conditioning is gonna be epic in this fight, and you all are gonna see a guy in Earl Spence who's probably gonna walk Manny down or just pressure him, put a lot of pressure on him. And when Manny does hit him, he's gonna probably eat the shot
Yep.
and keep coming forward, or he's gonna be pissed off and he's gonna go right into Manny. He's gonna back Manny down.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to go all 12 rounds. That's just me and the shit
I
that I
don't think
know.
so either. I don't think so either. And I think he's building up. That's why he's strengthening his core, strength and conditioning. He's building up his punch resistance and his conditioning to, I see it. I think he's going to take a couple to see what Manny's got and then let Manny do what he always does. Manny gets overconfident when he think he got something because the way he has to deliver his punches, he's got to jump in and out. I think Earl's going to catch that timing. Oh, okay, this is what you're doing. Bap, 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 bap. Bing, bing, bing. Okay. Oh, you hit me. You got me with that one. That's a good one. Bop, 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 bop. Oh, you're going to do it again. Oh, I'm going to step to the side and bam, here comes the hammer.
Yeah, I
And if
think
you
it's.
think, yeah.
Go ahead.
I said, if you think Marquez slept him,
Woo.
if Earl connects with him, it could be very, it could,
Yeah, I
it could
think
threaten other things.
I think they're gonna have 4 levels to this fight, and
Mhm.
throughout the 4 levels of the fight, they're gonna have things that they're gonna switch up through every round or halfway through every round. And if Manny negates that, then they'll move on to another process. But
Yeah.
I think listen, from what I understand, Manny doesn't know that he's gonna be following the directive the whole time. So that jab, man, that jab is gonna be a motherfucker.
And we already know what Manny's thinking. Two things. I gotta keep moving to keep him off my body. I'm gonna do movement. Manny's conditioning himself to move in and out, use speed, and conditioning himself to go the whole 12 rounds
Oh
with
yeah,
that approach.
you gonna need it.
That is the only way to me, because he can't stand and trade. That's the only way. He's got to get in, deliver his combinations. He's not even going to have the angles he's used to having. He can create different angles, but he ain't going to get those angles on Earl. Earl is too fundamentally sound. And I know Derrick James is going to cover up whatever holes may be there off the angles for Southpaw versus Southpaw. The thing is, Manny's going to try to use his foot speed. It's going to be his footwork, darting in, darting out, coming into the side, using lateral movement, coming in, coming out, trying to confuse Earl. The problem with this is Earl does not sit back and wait on you to come to him. He comes to you.
Yeah.
So I don't care how much hopping you do around. He's going to slowly come to you and he's going to walk you down. He's going to cut the ring off and he's going to look to deliver punishment.
And that jab is gonna be busting your ass up the whole
And the
time.
whole time he's doing this, while he's moving and cutting the ring off, the jab is there. Now, it's not the same jab. It's not always the same timing. Don't have the same force. It's not the same speed. It's not the same combination. He mixes it up. He throws feints. He throws you off so you don't necessarily know when that jab is coming. If you don't understand the effectiveness of that jab, and here's the thing, Danny Garcia is a very different fighter, but he's a counterpuncher. Listen to what Danny Garcia said about his jab. I didn't think his jab was going to be that good. Because in order to counter it, or even to use your speed to get past it, you have to be able to predict when that jab is coming and where it's going.
And be fast enough.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Danny has a better opportunity, and this is boxing. Danny has a better opportunity than Manny. Most people think, well, Manny does because he's faster. The difference is Manny has a smaller guy with shorter arms, and he has more distance to cover. Danny was right there in front of Errol. So what he thought when he saw with Sean Porter is, oh, Errol's right there to be hit. I could just encounter or shoot the hook. And he could never pull the trigger. And there was a couple reasons, but the biggest reason why he couldn't pull it is because that jab was in his face all night long.
Even when he
couldn't get the
tried
time,
to,
nothing he could do with it.
even when Danny tried to hook off Arrow's jab, Arrow was already gone. Like he was
He
already
was
out of
already
the way.
gone.
And I was like,
He was
yeah,
already gone.
y'all
It's
thought
not a lazy jab.
y'all think that Errol is slow. Errol moves
Yeah,
at the tempo that he adjusts to you as he goes along.
exactly.
Everything he's doing, man. Listen, Errol is a smart fighter. I don't care what nobody say.
He's a
Errol is a
super
smart fighter,
smart
and,
fighter.
and Manny has no man. Look, that boy is downloading information as the fight
Yeah,
goes on.
exactly. And the thing that's dangerous about this fight is, you see, Danny was right there in the pocket, right? With longer arms than Pacquiao and being taller than Pacquiao. Pacquiao is shorter with shorter arms. Granted, he's got speed, but he's got more distance to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the other thing. Errol's jab has got even more of an advantage in this fight because he's going against a fellow southpaw.
Yeah.
So it's really jab for jab. Who's the better jabber, Manny or Errol? So the difference is that you fighting in the mirror, so it's going to be a war of jabs. See, Manny will not be able to jab his way in.
Oh, Manny ain't no jabber though.
Manny's not a jabber. Everything with Manny is feet and jumping in.
Yeah.
And what happens when you jump in and you don't jab your way in? What can happen?
Errol is gonna meet you. He's gonna step back and counter.
And he's going to counter you.
He's gonna take a half step back.
And it makes what makes this, puts this on fucking steroids, is that not only does Manny jump in, but he jumps in and he doesn't jab. And he's the type of rhythm fighter where he's always bouncing. He doesn't slowly or methodically or rhythmically move in. It's a rhythm. You can see he's hopping around and then he has to jump in. And Errol's going to time that. I agree with you. He's going to take that step back. And it's most likely going to be a step back.
Yeah, it's gonna be a half step.
Left to right.
It's gonna be a half step. It's gonna be a half step.
Half step and boom. And once that happens, I predict that's going to happen in the first 2-3 rounds. Once that happens, Manny's got two choices. He could either fight to be safe and do what Mikey Garcia did, or he can keep trying and hope that he can do it again and get his shot in and he won't get hurt.
No, I think it's going to
it's gonna be nasty, bro.
I think it's gonna be somewhere near the ropes, and he's gonna flood Manny out.
I don't think Manny's gonna try to keep the fight in the middle of the ring, and he thinks he's gonna be able to use his angles and hop from side to side. The problem is Errol's never just standing there. Errol's coming forward.
Errol has educated feet.
Yeah, he has educated feet. He's cutting the ring off. He's downloading information. And then even when you step in, you think, oh, he's just going to shell up. He may shell up one time just to see what you got, just see what you want. No. Manny's like, oh, I'm going to see the guard here, and I'm going to shoot something hard to the body. Okay, cool. All right. What Errol's doing is he may take one of those. Okay, you shimmy up top a little bit, then you try to give me something hard down low. All right, little man, do that again. Jump in, shimmy. I'm going to go down the body. Oh, shit, I got hit. I got countered. Right in between.
There's going to be a lot of that.
People keep talking about speed. And this is what people don't understand about boxing. Timing beats speed every time. 100% of the time. You can be as fast as you want to. If somebody has your number, it doesn't matter. Look at, I make it, people understand, it's like pitching. You got a pitcher who can throw 100 miles an hour. But if it's straight and that hitter has timed that speed to that pitch and he connects,
home run.
He generally does a lot of damage. And that's how I view this fight.
Yeah. That's how I was going.
Manny's a 100-mile-per-hour pitcher, but Errol Spence is a hitter who has that 100-mile-per-hour fastball time.
Errol is going to box and bang. And when I, when I say bang, he's basically just going to jab, man. And when Manny gets tired of seeing that shit, he's going to try to dart in.
Yep.
And you're just going to get caught, bro.
because his arms are really short and he's really going to struggle. And here's the other part that people don't give Errol credit for. Errol is phenomenal at gauging distance. And again, Manny is good. People think he's good at gauging distance. No, he's good at getting in and getting out. It's a difference. But if you're going to get somebody who's really good at distance and has timing, then, and you got the shorter arms, you the smaller guy, man, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's gonna be something to see, man, because once he established that jab, you already know it's all downhill from there. It's all downhill. It's all downhill. I'm only saying that again because he got Blu-ray back doing strength and conditioning. Errol sounds agitated and irritated and annoyed with all this 147 division bullshit. It sounds like he's ready to move forward. This is the perfect fight for him to move forward. I saw the clip where he said if he can't get the next fight after this, he going up to 154. So that let me know that he dedicated to how he feels and he ain't playing around no more.
And now Bob is trying to use that as an excuse. He doesn't want to fight Crawford. He's going up after this fight. No, he's going up after this fight if you refuse to fight him. See, you're not Bob. See, that's Bob is a bullshit artist.
Yeah.
And his fighters are bullshit artists too. So no, he's saying.
I'm saying that I done fought for 3 fucking belts or tried to, and one of these fucking belts is over there with y'all, and y'all don't want to fight. So if I beat this legend and I wipe him out, and I can't get that fight with Bud, there is no purpose of sitting around waiting on any of you guys.
Yes, and he'll definitely get the fight with Bud because Bud is the big money. That's another big pay-per-view fight. So people say, well, after Manny, won't he go to Ugas? No, he's not going to go to Ugas or whoever Ugas. If Ugas loses, whoever beats him. No, he's not going to do that. He's coming straight for Crawford after Manny. He wants to show you, I'm the man at 147. Look at his string of fights. Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter. Who did he beat last?
Danny Garcia.
Danny Garcia. Now he's going to Manny Pacquiao. So imagine that those fights in a row. See,
that's called I want all the smoke.
Now think about Canelo. Now we'll bring Canelo in. Oh, well, he could take a fight off. He had a tough fight. Who cares if he fights Abney? Where is Errol Spence's Abney Yildirim, Callum Smith? Really, I think all of them, there was whatever, but where are they in his last 4 or 5 fights? You don't see him.
Errol Spence did not take a warm-up fight. After the accident, he said, I don't want a warm-up fight.
Right. Now they'll say, oh, but what about Carlos Ocampo? Well, Carlos Ocampo actually was a mandatory for the IBF. Earl only had the IBF belt at the time, and he had to do the mandatory. And the IBF is strict about their mandatories. Now, was Abney Yildirim really a mandatory for Canelo? No, he was not. No, he wasn't. So at the end of and he's a franchise belt holder. Franchise belt people, designated people don't have to fight mandatories. So it's all nonsense, it's bullshit, and I'm calling it what it is. So at the end of the day, I think he is, after this fight, he's going to be number 1 on my pound for pound if he beats Manny.
Man, bro.
So because Manny's a fucking icon. You can't take anything. Manny's fought everybody. And here's another reason why. He beat, and again, I'm not the biggest Keith Thurman fan, but Keith Thurman's a top 5 welterweight.
Yes.
And he beat Keith Thurman, and he did it and took his belt. And so now if Earl beats and stops Manny, and he's fought Sean Porter, he's fought all the other top guys, even guys who even ranked above Keith Thurman, then, and Crawford don't want to fight him, then, it is what it is.
And it wasn't like he just mowed Keith Thurman down. Like, Keith came back and he started winning some of those middle rounds.
That was a tough fight for Pacquiao. He hurt Pacquiao with some shots. The second half of that fight.
Oh, yeah.
So we see how this is going to go. Manny is going to have to start fast. He's going to try to hopefully see if he can hurt Errol Spence with something big. I see he's really working on his power. and he's trying to see if he can overwhelm him and get a stoppage and hit him in the right spot, blah, blah, blah. We see what it is.
Oh yeah.
Problem is Errol's just going to be there and he's going to keep coming and he's going to mow him down. And so it is what it is. So for Bud, and here's the other thing. Earl can go to, he has multiple options because he is the draw where he can have big money fights. What I don't understand about Crawford is he ain't getting Pacquiao after this. That's gone. So where's his other big money fight? Him versus Josh Taylor is a fight I'd watch. I wouldn't pay for it on pay-per-view. And it's not a big money fight, but I'd watch it.
Unless they do it in like Glasgow or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, but I would watch it. So
I wouldn't pay for it, no.
I wouldn't pay for it. And they wouldn't do it in Glasgow because, Bud is the champion. He ain't going to be the champion that had a challenger and go to the challenger's backyard. But
knowing Bob Arum, he would do it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Bob Arum would do it to do the setup so he can get the belt to Josh Taylor and screw Bud over because he's been screwing Bud over the whole time anyway. But Bud is okay with being screwed over. So it's sad, man. It's sad for the game. It ain't sad for Bud because that's what Bud want to do. But it's sad for the game. So I'm just gonna stop paying attention to him and what he does until he actually steps into the competitive portion of the division and in the sport. Then I'll start paying attention.
And the responsible business part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, look, he can handle his business however he wants to. I didn't go pay attention to the business. I already know the business ends up. When he starts to fight better competition, then that means he's making better business decisions.
Yeah, that's the responsible part of this shit.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but it's sad for the boxing game because I think he has an immense talent and a unique skill set. He just refuses to put it to the test at the top level, and that's unfortunate. It's almost like Ben Simmons with the 76ers, all that talent, but you afraid to miss a shot, and you don't shoot in the fourth quarter. So to me, Bud is Ben Simmons.
Yeah, you in your own head, bro.
Yeah, he in his own head, man, and that's unfortunate.
Supremely, because like you said, the brother does have a lot of talent. We all know that a fight against Errol Spence would be a grandiose, a fight of epic
that's
magnitude.
$100 million fight,
if not more. Bud's
biggest payday comes with Earl. Earl can get bigger paydays with other people.
Yeah. Well, we know the back end on this is going to be crazy too.
It's going to be huge, and so it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate for the sport, but it is what it is, man. That's top tank. That's what Bud want to do, and so now it's just about the new and upcoming talent in the division with the old heads and still trying to get a belt real quick. But they're gonna have to see, Ennis. They're gonna have to see Boots, and eventually they're gonna have to see Virgil.
Away from that, when JoJo Diaz and Fortuna locks in, who would you like to win that fight?
I really don't have a dog in that race.
Okay.
I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't have a horse in that race.
I'm only saying that because they're going to end up being the next guy for Devin Haney.
Who do I think is going to win? Fortuna.
Okay.
I believe Fortuna is the naturally bigger guy.
No.
He's not. JoJo's bigger?
JoJo's bigger.
Is JoJo coming down or did he come up to the weight?
He came up,
but he's still the bigger guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, JoJo's not a small guy. I don't even know how he was making 130.
Yeah, I know he's a 130 coming from the small weight division. So he may fill out and have more power. It'll be an interesting fight to see. Fortuna's a tricky guy. They're both southpaw, so that makes for an interesting fight too. It'll be interesting, man.
It'll be two young thugs. It'll be two young thugs going at it.
Whichever one it is, whichever one comes out of there, Devin Haney gives either one of them a boxing lesson. Yeah. So it's really kind of irrelevant to me.
I need to go back and watch JoJo's fight against Rakhimov, so I can see how he did. That was the last fight he had a year and a half ago. And since then, the talk is that he's been ducking Tevin Farmar in a rematch. I just need to go back, but I know when you go back, just check out JoJo. Watch how he feels out, man.
Yeah,
Watch
I'm
how
pretty
he
sure.
feels
Okay,
up.
well, he'll fill out nicely. I got Devin Haney beating both of them.
And he a big. I'm just saying he big, man. You can tell.
Yeah, that should be interesting to watch that fight. I'll definitely watch that fight.
Yeah, they gonna
I'm
fuck each
really
other
interested.
up.
I'm really interested to see who Linares gets in the ring with next because
Ooh,
even though he was outclassed by Haney, he still showed that he still can compete at
hell
a
yeah.
top level.
He didn't look like he was done. He just the guy
He was
was
just getting
quicker, faster.
outclassed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he
all.
was just getting outboxed.
That's all.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who I would like to see who Linares would come back and get. I mean, who should fight him should be Ryan Garcia, since he talked all that noise about Devin Haney. But we know the punk that he is, and living on social media, you know, he's gonna hide behind somebody's skirt.
Yeah, he a
And
cyberstar.
he won't fight Linares. He won't. Linares would destroy Ryan Garcia.
And I
So
would, and if for me, I would just like it if Linares just outboxed him, not even went for the knockout, just outbox him to just show
yeah,
him
well,
how.
we saw what happened. The reason why I said we already know the answer to everything.
Yeah, we know, but I would just like to see him just
He
outbox
talking
him.
about Devin getting clipped by Linares, who's a much heavier puncher than Luke Campbell, and
Yeah.
Luke Campbell put Ryan Garcia on his ass.
On his ass, had his chin up and
So
everything. Imagine if
Ryan,
fucking Jorge Linares hits him, bro.
yeah. So that's my point. So to me, it's like Ryan Garcia is not even in the conversation. They talk about the four kings. I don't know how. Ryan Garcia is not even in the conversation. He's not even mentally capable right
I'm
now.
gonna agree with Bob Arum and just say there is no four kings. I'm just gonna say that. He said what those guys did at that time during their age compared to now, these guys compare no way, no how. I agree with Bob when he said that. These guys still have a long way to go.
They have a long way to go, but for what it's worth, all these guys, the ones who we consider for it, all have talent.
Yeah.
Even though he's, got his whole set of issues, and I don't know where his head is, and I think he's kind of on some weak sauce, and he'd be on some whole shit. Ryan Garcia has a lot of talent. Teofimo Lopez, even though he's delusional, he's got a lot of talent. Devin Haney has a lot of talent. Gervonta Davis has a lot of talent. Vasyl Lomachenko, even though he's older, he's got talent. And I'm gonna throw another guy in that mix who nobody's talking about.
Colbert,
who's got a fight coming up. Yeah, Chris Colbert got a fight coming up against a very good fighter.
Yeah.
And Chris, he's not in that group yet, but I think in another 2 fights, if he gets past this fight and he takes another step of fight, in that arena, in that group, he's going to be right there too.
Yeah, he'll make his way in there. I just think it's like you said about the fights that he takes that gets him to that spot.
But this next fight is a good fight. Nobody's seeing him coming right now, but I'm telling you, he's coming.
No, and they gave him somebody good too. I forgot the guy's name.
I forget the guy who's fighting, but he's fighting a really good fighter.
Yeah, matter of fact, time out. Let me look him up.
Yeah, and the guy he fought, I should either fought Lomachenko or fought somebody.
Well, give me a second, good people. Give me a second while I look it up. Chris Colbert, 15 fights, 6 knockouts. They do not have his next fight up there yet. But his last fight was against Jaime Arboleda, and he stopped that guy.
Arboleda. I saw that fight.
Yeah, we all saw that, and I was wowed by that because I was like,
and Arboleda was supposed to be the power puncher, and he destroyed him. I think Colbert has finally grown into his power, and it's a different. He's also has a different style. Before he was a stick and move type of guy. I'll box you. Now he's starting to sit down on some punches.
I think he did that just to let people know, like, yo, I can do it. I can do it. I just prefer to box. You know what I mean?
And I'm shocked you looked up there. They should have. Did you Google Chris Colbert next fight? I'm pretty sure it will come up.
I just went to BoxRec because usually on BoxRec, if you have a fight coming up, they'll just put it.
They might be late with it, but just go Chris Colbert next fight. It'll come up. Just Google that shit because BoxRec sometimes they might be slow to put it up. I want to say it's an Asian fighter or somebody. I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, Tugstart Nyambayar.
No, he fought Gary Russell Jr. That's
Yeah,
King Tug.
yeah. And this would be a better fight for both of them because Tug really wants to come forward and inflict pain, and he couldn't do that with Gary Russell. So
He couldn't do it. So this is
yeah,
gonna be a really good fight because King Tug can punch. He offers a lot of resistance. He's a good solid fighter. I think this is gonna be a great fight for Lil B Hop. I think
yeah.
it'll be a great fight. So we'll see what happens.
Young
I
prime
think
time. That's what they call him. Prime time.
yeah. So we'll see. But he's in that mix, man. So it's that 135 division is hot. And I know what Tank is doing, but Tank is a 135 pounder, bro. Tank is gonna, it's
I
gonna
don't
be in that
care.
mix.
I don't care if Tank fights at 130 or 135. I know what he's doing. He's trying to wait it out so everybody can
Yeah,
get their name.
yeah.
You want to make the
To
biggest
where
fight possible.
to where it's worthwhile. And what I like that he's doing, I love and see. This is what Teofimo could learn, and it's interesting because the black fighters handle it one way, and the non-black fighters handle it the opposite way. Goes to show you who knows how to take care of their business.
Yeah.
So you got Ryan Garcia, and I know people are gonna think, "Oh, Jamie, you make it about race," but that's just how the cookie crumbles on this. You got Ryan Garcia, Teofimo. Oh, Devin Haney, forget Tank. Devin Haney, Tank. They ain't nothing. Hey, Devin. Hey, Tank. So, man, eventually we know you ain't been there yet. We asked Tank that. Sean Zatel asked Tank. You ain't been there yet, but eventually, who do you see at 135? Who do you think is the best? Tank was like, man, I don't know. They're all good fighters. We can sit here and talk about it, but they're all good fighters. And those fights just have to happen for us to see who the best is. And so these guys keep taking good fights. They win. He said Dale just had a fight. He won a fight against Linares. That was a really good win against a high quality veteran former champion opponent. He said Teo's got his fight. He beat Lomachenko. He's got his fight with Kambosos coming up. He couldn't sell tickets, but he got a fight coming up at some point. He can't have to drop that in there. And he said Ryan Garcia, hey, he got talent. I guess he got to figure out if he's going to fight or not. So they don't do anything to kill the potential of a fight down the road. Number one, they're both interested in actually having the fights.
Yes.
Where all you hear Ryan Garcia and Teo do is whine and bitch and moan and try to sell people a false bill of goods, like as if Tank and Dev can't fight. We know they can fight. The whole question is when are you gonna fight them?
Right.
So, those guys, they're young. I'm gonna chalk it up to inexperience.
Yeah.
And poor leadership with their team. Because, let's look at it. Devin Haney got his dad, Bill Haney, and I see where Devin gets it from. Tank has, Leonard Ellaby and Floyd Mayweather, people who were, steep in the game. He knows how to handle it. Well, who does Ryan Garcia have? You would think Oscar De La Hoya, which Oscar doesn't say bad. See, the thing about Oscar don't say anything bad about Tank and Dev. He said, oh, these guys are both great fighters. But you hear with Ryan Garcia, he's over there in YouTube land with his thumb up his ass, and he's talking shit that don't make any sense. But he got mental health issues, supposedly.
Yeah. And the thing about him is I don't think he gets it. Like, this is the actual fight game. When you say somebody's name, Devin Haney, Tank Davis, those are guys that are kind of more old school. If you say my name,
it's a fucking game, bro.
And it's not. It's a game. If you say my name, you gotta come see me about it. Yeah, and he doesn't understand that part.
And what he's trying to do is hype himself up so he can manufacture that anger to have this competitive thing. What he don't understand is them other guys walk around like that already. And with Teo is he trying to be something that he's not, and he's so busy looking at, again, people see that's the thing about Trump. People see Trump do all the bullshit, they think they can do it. Teo just talking. But dude, when you gonna fight somebody? I hear all the talking. Just even Tim Bradley said, he said, Ryan Garcia, shut up. Teo, shut up. Fight the guy. So they need to shut up and fight. Either shut up and fight or shut up and don't fight. But either way, just shut up.
Yeah, motherfuckers are bought up into their own hype too much, and they not doing the work. They just not doing the work.
And with
And right now we just see the work being done by Devin.
And we see what T.O. get it from. T.O. get it from his dad because his dad be talking crazy outside his neck too.
But so, that's part of their image too, especially with him doing flips in the ring and trying to get people to pay attention to him and everything.
Yeah, the dog and pony show, bro. We just want to see you fight. Here's what I know. If he don't get his shit together, which I'm worried about T.O. with the weight, with the I'm worried about his view of himself and his self-esteem, not being able to sell tickets. I'm worried about him. Is he able to make the weight at 135 anymore? Which I think he's going to struggle with that.
He looked big.
He's big.
He looked big.
And so I just don't even think he's going to be applicable anymore, which is why I think he's so angry about the fact that Taylor don't want to fuck with him, because he want to jump up and skip. He got that bud in him. He want to jump up and skip the line in another weight division or what he did in the lower weight division. So Bud did the same thing. Well, I was undisputed at 140. Make me the king. Give me everything I want at 147. It don't work that way.
No, it don't. But you know what that is. That way. I can't make the weight at 135. So I'm gonna try to press the guy at 140.
He gonna try to press the guy at 140, and the guy at 140 said, "Bro, you ain't nobody at 140. You ain't done nothing."
Right.
You at 140, and
you got business at 135.
Yeah, and you're not even iconic enough of a fighter or popular enough of a fighter to make it worth my while to even let you skip the line. And that's the thing that these top tank fighters don't get. Bud clearly didn't get it. You're not popular. You're not iconic. You have a great skills. We see the talent, but that doesn't mean you should get the opportunities that you think you should get. You got to stand in line like everybody else. If you want to skip the line, you need to be Manny. You need to be Mayweather. You ain't going to skip the line, bro. Guess who just skipped the line? Earl B. Pacquiao. Earl going to be able to skip the line if he want to, if he move to 154 and Jamil clear out.
Sure.
He can skip the line and get a title shot.
Oh, yes, sir.
You know why? He got a following. He fought competition.
Yes.
He beat an icon. So, Teo, yeah, you beat Lomachenko. Is Lomachenko an icon? No, he's not.
He's
popular. A great boxer.
He's
popular. He was popular in terms of being known. He's not popular in terms of the money draw.
No.
He's popular in terms of Lomachenko, all of that type of stuff. But he ain't a big draw. He don't bring in big dollars.
And if he do bring in big dollars, it's going to be against a Tank Davis or Devin Haney.
That's why they want to. Exactly. That's why they want to fight the Tanks. And so, to me, look. The next 2-3 years at 135 is going to be interesting. Lomachenko is going to be there to be seen. I think Tank and Lomachenko are going to do business. I see that fight happen.
You think so?
I think here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what Floyd's doing. Watch it. Let's see what Lomachenko does against Nakatani. Let's see what he take a couple fights and get a little older. Then Lomachenko knows, damn, I want that rematch with Teo, which is what Bob Arum is trying to go ahead and get out the way. But they're trying to make sure they want that fight before Dev get that fight, because Teo got it already, right? I don't think. Here's what I think is going to happen. I don't think Teo is going to give Loma the rematch. I think Teo's going to duck Loma. I think Teo knows that he'll lose that fight again. All Loma got to do is start earlier.
Well, you know what they say: when you fight a boxer, don't rematch him, because they figure you out the second time.
And for what it's worth, I don't see Teo. Teo's not going to be at 135 after Kambosos now, especially now he's been pushed back. I think Teo's done at 135, so he's out the conversation.
Man, bro, I'm telling you, he big, man.
He's going to move out of 135. Trust me. He's done. He's moving out of 135. He's moving out of 135. Period. Point blank to end. He's struggling with the weight, and he doesn't want to deal with that gauntlet either at 135. And then at that point, that's what Bob knows that. That's why Bob is like, well, the belts are going to be vacant, so we got Lomachenko. Then that's when I think Tank is going to slide in there and be like, all right, Lomachenko, you want to fight Devin Haney, or you think you're going to make more money fighting me? And the answer to the question right now is, yeah, he will make more money fighting Tank Davis. So Tank Davis will get that Loma fight first.
Okay. Either way, it'll be a good fight. If he fights Tank or if he fights Devin, I think it'll just be an awesome fight to see.
It'd be an awesome fight to see. But Loma's 32 years old, and so
somewhere around.
Loma is at the point in his career where he's like, I want big money fights too. So he's going, you know, if he has a choice between making double the money fighting Tank as opposed to Dev, you know, but you get great credit and you're fighting a top guy, he's gonna fight Tank.
Any fighter on Top Rank will probably get a good fight before Terrence Crawford will.
Yeah, I think Terrence don't want a good fight.
Hey,
that's what I found.
Question to you about this, because I saw it on a couple other channels. What did you think of Shakur Stevenson apologizing for his performance?
I don't think Shakur should have apologized. I get it. He wants to make people happy, but you can't make everybody happy all the time.
The purpose ain't to make everybody happy. You got the win. You got the win.
Is to win. The purpose is to win, and he clearly won that fight. There are going to be fights like that, and when you're great, you're going to have some fights like that because the other people are going to be very cautious.
Did we grade that fight?
We didn't grade that fight.
Okay, what do you give him?
I gave Shakur a B.
I did too. I give him a B. And my B, Shakur Stevenson, if you're listening, I gave you the B because you didn't step up and you didn't press the action. That's all.
And that's the only reason why I didn't give him a B.
That's all.
He just cruised in the fight because he was controlling it. He didn't put the foot on the gas, and he knew he didn't. And but you know, he don't want to make excuses, but he was under the weather. He didn't feel good. So I'm gonna give Shakur the benefit of the doubt. He's going to show us some stuff. I think Shakur is going to end up at 135 too.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I think as Teo moves out, I think Shakur is going to be the one who moves in.
I think he's going to end up being the one that gets the Loma fight.
I think Tank is going to get the Loma fight. I get it because they're both top ranked.
No. I ain't saying that. I just think because they know each other well enough. Yeah, they know each other well enough.
They know each other. They know each other. True.
But on a business aspect, I get it. It makes more sense to fight Tank. But I just think
with top rank, true. But I see the Tank Davis fight happening first.
I got you. I just think, you know, I feel like he would take that because it would be maybe this is a softer look.
I don't know. I think Loma wants Tank over Shakur. I think Loma, there's more glory, there's more money. Tank's got the bigger name. I think, you know, because Tank comes with Mayweather. I think he wants, you know, imagine that all access or whatever you want to call it leading up to that fight. Mayweather's in it. Oh, Loma's supposed to be one of the top guys. Oh, they were hyping up Loma. Loma's like, oh yeah, they talk about Mayweather. Tank's got him, but Tank is no Mayweather.
And the thing that they're gonna say, they're also gonna say they're gonna put up that clip where Loma talks about Tank not fighting technical fighters or not being technical.
Yeah,
and man,
he don't fight the comp.
And you're gonna find out for yourself, pimp. You're gonna find out.
And that's what he said. He said, well, Tank doesn't, you know, just like today. Who is Barrios? He's like, Tank doesn't fight competition. Well, you know, not true. Tank fought Pedraza, you fought Pedraza. So, you know, I mean, they got some similar guys. So it's cap. It's all talk, but at the end of the day, that's who Loma wants to fight.
Yeah.
That's a bigger money fight.
Yeah. So Shakur Stevenson, you get a B. Even if you were sick, I hear you, champ. I got you. Mm-hmm. But just being able to give him enough pressure to let him know that, yo, I could hurt you if I feel like it. You know, you didn't do it. You didn't push him. You didn't push them back. You did, you know, you boxed and you show how crafty you were and how masterful you are with your boxing. All I wanted to see, I wasn't going for, I didn't want the knockout. If a knockout would have came, I would have been fine with that. I was not expecting a knockout, but I was expecting you to give him a beating in certain spots because he was trying, you could tell the guy was trying to get him with a shot. You could tell the guy was trying to lend himself to hurt Shakur, to get him out of there. But if he would have just pushed the pace in certain spots or just let off certain combinations, I'd have been fine with that. I didn't need to see him knock him out. So that was my grade was a B. I could easily say it's a A because it was just a shutout. Like the guy did nothing.
Yeah, him and Dev got the same issue. Something I want to see them do. With all that talent and defensive prowess, I think there's another level for them to tap into of being able to set guys up.
I think
You
that
know,
comes with the
food,
angry factor, though. I think
it,
you got to be
it
mean.
does, but I think it also comes with the quantity in which you do it. I think that I want to see them set more traps. Um, they're just purely technical, gifted skill in which I see them doing, hit and not get hit. But I want to see them, and they're young. These guys are young. I'm not criticizing. I'm just talking about what I see. I just see the next level, the next evolution for them is being able to set traps. And in setting those traps, when you set a trap, you setting the guy up so you can hit him. And so I think with the type of skill level they have, with the speed and the footwork and all of that, I just totally see them being able to do that. I mean, instead of Loma and Shakur, which I agree to, I think that might eventually end up happening. I think the master boxer fight we're going to see eventually is going to be Dev and Shakur.
Okay. Okay. It'll be somewhere between a Tank, a Dev, and a Shakur.
Yeah, it'll be those things. The reason why I say Shakur and Dev is because neither one of them are. I'll put Tank in the category all to himself.
Yeah, because I don't think he'll fight Shakur.
I think because the thing with Tank is, I think Tank will eventually fight Shakur. I think it'll eventually happen. I think, why don't you think? Because they cool, or you just think you don't want that fight?
I think that's more of a family thing right there.
He cool with Dev too, though.
Who is
Tank?
Yeah, but not like that. Not like that.
Not like that. Okay.
Nah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I think these guys all end up fighting each other.
I think they will, because that's just a sport of boxing. When you're at high level, and when you say, yo, if you my friend or you my brother, you will help me make some money. It'll come down to that, where, you know, you're gonna get in the ring with me, and we gonna show who's the best. And also, these guys are competitive.
They gonna want to see who the best is, right? Yeah. And I see that. I definitely see that in Dev, Shakur, and Tank. You know, Ryan Garcia has zero interest in it. He talks it, but I don't believe it. And Teo is a narcissist who is trying to get to the money without paying the dues in actual fights. He works hard, don't get it twisted, but he's trying to get all the glory before actually having the fights that earn you the glory. So he's going to end up at 140. And if he goes to 140, Josh Taylor will absolutely destroy him. And I think that's where Taylor's going to meet his they got to be smart with him moving up to 140. He needs the right fights.
Do you think he can beat Regis Prograis at 140?
I think that's a good fight. I think he should definitely go see somebody like a Prograis before Josh Taylor, because Josh Taylor and Prograis had a tough fight.
Yes.
I think that's a measuring stick. I think that's the same thing that Mikey Garcia is doing. I think Prograis and Mikey Garcia are going to end up making a fight.
I hope so. I would like to see them do it. My only thing is that I think that Mikey might be able to get Prograis out of there.
If Prograis is undisciplined, Mikey will get him. But it's been a while. You know, we give Mikey a lot of credit. Is he still the same Mikey Garcia? Now, I think the mental part of knowing what to do is there. I'm just not seeing the same Mikey Garcia I saw pre his whole fallout with Bob Arum when he had to lead the game. Before that, he was killing people. I just don't know if it's the same Mikey Garcia. It's not that he can't execute. I think something's missing, bro. I just don't think he's the same. He needs to show me. And if he fights Prograis, we'll see it, because Prograis is going to give you opportunities.
Yes.
And we'll see. But that's a really good fight. And I think Teo and Mikey Garcia, Teo and Prograis, he needs to go to those guys first. I don't think at any point ever he could beat Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor's too slick. He's a southpaw. He'll set traps. Teo will fall for it. Teo can box, but not better than Josh Taylor.
Rhetorically, Mikey versus Teofimo, how do you see that?
I think Mikey beats Teofimo just off experience right now, because Teo is very, if you saw the second half of the Loma fight, Teo gets very overzealous. My bad. Teo gets overzealous. He gets frustrated easily. And Mikey's a very patient fighter, and he's very smart. He's skilled. I think he beats Teo right now. I think
Tail needs another, again, I think a pro-grade fight or even underneath a pro-grade fight. I think, if I know this fight is not going to happen because he moved up, but like a Tail could have gotten to a Maurice Hooker or something like that. Like that would be a good step up fight for him at 140, but I know Hooker's now at 147.
I think Hooker would just outbox him. I mean, you got the chance to catch him with the one shot because of the power and everything, but
because of power. And also, here's my thing: Hooker before being knocked out and hurt, I think would have outboxed him and with the length and the jab and all of this, and did and outpointed him. But I think now Hooker has he got some mileage. He's taking some big shots. He's taking some punishment. And I think, again, I'm saying that's a 50-50 fight. I'm not saying Tail definitely does it, but he has an opportunity. But yeah, again, Hooker's not at 140, he's at 147. So we'll see what happens. At 140, yeah, Tail, if he fights guys like Ivan Baranchyk and some of these other guys, I see those as being,
step up fights.
This is Zepeda. He should be fighting instead of Bud talking about fighting Zepeda. Tail should be trying to fight Zepeda and those guys at 140.
Interesting.
Those are the guys Tail should try to fight first because he needs to build up his resume and he needs to get some experience at 140. Look, he beat Richard Comey. I give him credit. That was one big punch he knocked him out with. Is Richard Comey a good fighter? Yeah, but he's not a world beater. And and he fought Loma. He beat Loma. Loma started late. Who looked worse after that fight? Tail looked a lot worse after the fight than Loma did, but Tail won the fight. Who else has Tail fought? Nobody. So
who do you think will win that fight with Teofimo against Zepeda?
I think Zepeda beats him.
I do too.
As of right now, I think Zepeda beats him.
Yeah.
Mostly because Tail has seemed to, while he can box, I think he's turned away from his boxing and he's focused more so on his power. He's focused more so on landing that one big shot, not setting up that shot, not picking his shots. It's all, and touching guys up and then getting to the big shot. It's all about, I'm gonna swing this big left hook and catch you. I'm gonna throw this big right hand and catch you. And moving up that weight class, those guys are just going to catch and shoot that and get out the way, and they're going to pop his ass. And so I just see, I don't see him beating those guys now. He needs this fight with Kambosos, and I think he needs some lightweight work. Now, I don't be about a weight class, but I mean like somebody at the mid-level at 140 pounds, like an Ivan Baranchyk.
I think that would be a good fight too, but that's a fight where Baranchyk is going to come forward. Like, I don't know if he wants that.
I think he does want that because it goes right into his wheelhouse, right? That land that big punch. And what do we know about Baranchyk? Baranchyk is there to be hit, and he's got some mileage and he's got some damage. So again, I like that's a good fight for Taylor because he can look good. Then after that, he needs to fight somebody who could actually box a lot better at 140 than Baranchyk. I don't really follow the 140 division that tightly, but yeah, to me, he's several fights away from even competing with a Josh Emmett. I still think he can't win that fight. And yeah, I mean, Mikey Garcia gets him, and I think even Prograis would even beat him too right now. So we'll see what happens. He's in an interesting situation.
Yeah, because with Prograis gonna bang. You're not just gonna hit him with one shot and get him out of there. You're gonna have to break him down.
Look, if Prograis could take that war with Josh Taylor, Prograis can take whatever. We can take what Tio has.
Yeah, and and it's the incoming from Prograis that you're gonna have to deal with.
And you can respect Josh Taylor's power just because of what he did to Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez has a beard on him.
Yeah.
And he hurt Jose Ramirez twice and put him on his ass. So Prograis fought him and didn't get punished like that, didn't, go down like that. And you see what he did to Jose Ramirez. So it tells you the type of metal that Prograis has. So look, it's an interesting situation. I see a huge roadblock in Taylor's career because of the weight and because of how he's focused on handling certain things. And I see people like Tank, people like Dev, people like Shakur being able to navigate a lot better because they're boxers first. And They know they're disciplined. They know how to, you know, it looks even Tank right now is disciplined. They're managing the weight. And I just think those guys are better boxers. I think they're just better pure boxers than Till is.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. I have no disagreement with that at all. All right, my man. Did you get everything off your chest, bro?
Well, yeah, I nipped it. I nipped it in the bud for sure, man. This is back to that, man. It's just you 147-pound champion, and the three opponents your promoter talks about are all junior welterweights. They all fight at 140 currently.
Well, when you told me that he was Zepeda was being considered, I was like, what? He fights at 140.
Zepeda, who lost to Ramirez, who lost to Taylor, and Prograis, who lost to Taylor. And you're supposed to be Terrence Bud Crawford, #1 pound for pound, WBO welterweight champion. I want Errol Spence. I had Manny Pacquiao, and those are the three names you give me. No disrespect to any of those three gentlemen who put their lives on the line and go in the ring. And at least two of the three have been, you know, former champions. Respect to that. But like Prograis said, I don't know why Bob said my name. I'm at 140. So it just shows you the mindset that you're even saying a guy's name who you never even talked to, who's not even looking to even move up at 147, but you're going to put his name out there anyway.
Right. You just threw his name in the running just because. So it must be some big secret then, because who the fuck are you planning on fighting in October?
They always say it's a big secret, and it don't end up being shit.
Shit. Not a goddamn
So I'm not
person.
going for it. You know, we're going to get a Mean Machine sausage, or we're going to get a Kell Brooks sausage. They're going to find somebody to get off the scrap heap.
Even if it's
somebody who is disadvantaged.
Even if it is Sean Porter, by that point, we'll be like, man, so what?
Man, he ain't going to fight Sean Porter. So
I'm just saying, even if it end up being one of the guys that we wanted, it'd be like, God damn, it took y'all 2 years to figure it out.
Well, if it is, I'm still going to give him credit because Sean Porter can still fight. So I still want to see that fight, and let's see what happens. But I know it ain't going to be Sean Porter.
How well do you think Sean Porter will do at 154?
Not well at all.
Okay.
Only because Sean Porter don't have power. His style is great. But I think at 154, while he has great conditioning, he has a chin. Can you imagine if Male hit him? Could you imagine if Banana hits him? Could you imagine if Erickson Hammer Lubin hits him? I just don't think.
I get you. But I'm only saying that because if you notice the amateurs, Sean went all the way up to like 170. Yeah, he fought at 175. I think
he fought at heavier weights. Yeah. I just think at this point, with where the junior middleweight, the super welterweight division is right now, all those guys can handle Sean physically. And so the type of style he fights isn't going to work with those guys. No,
and then you're the shorter guy. Even though being short does have its advantages, against those guys, it just won't work because they're just
against those guys. Yeah, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. And the other thing is, you know, when you talk about Lubin and you talk about Jamel, they can both fight on the inside. You know, now Banana, I don't think can fight on the inside, but he got that missile.
Banana can fight on the inside. I just don't think that no one wants to commit to fighting him on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him fight on the inside, like a real, you know.
You're gonna see tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see with Lubin. But that's gonna be that fight is gonna get inside. That's gonna be a dog fight.
Lubin looked like he is in shape for a war. He wore the hat. He had on the hat.
Yeah. Lubin, both of them look like they're in phenomenal shape. Number one, they both had 8 packs.
Yeah.
Number one, Lubin looks a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Like doggish.
Yeah.
He's on a mission because, you know, he got thoroughly embarrassed by Male. So I know he's on a mission. But I think it's one of those things where Male is in his head, man. And he just got him in his head. He's in his head. So
living there rent free. But I mean, you spoke my name. They threw you in front of me. They said you was the up and coming talent. You was a contender. You were too young. You weren't ready, and you got clipped in the first round. Like, shit happens, bro.
So while he looks good, what I will say is, I'm going to question his punch resistance. Both of them. The thing in this fight is we're going to find out who has worked on their punch resistance. We saw what happened to Banana when he fought Jamel, and we saw what happened to Lubin when he fought Jamel.
Holy fuck. Mel beat both of them.
So that's what Mel said. So they interviewed Mel, which I'm so mad.
I didn't even think about that.
Thing and the race thing. So Mel beat, Mel beat both of them.
Wow.
No, and he just beat both of them. He knocked both of them out.
He had Erickson Lubin swimming on the ground. And he had
with a jab to the
Jason
body.
Rosario busting a nut. Wow. With a jab to the body.
And
Mel
on top
dog.
of that, he knocked him out he knocked him down two times before that.
Mel a dog. And was boxing him too. Was
And
boxing.
was boxing. So he's beating both of those guys. And
Jamel,
I
you a
how they asked him,
motherfucking dog, bro. Bro,
said,
you a
man,
dog, man.
They said, man, what you think about the fight, Mel? He said, man, I ain't got nothing to say. I beat both of them, and they got to figure it out.
Yeah. You want some more? Y'all got to go. Y'all know how this works. Y'all got to go through the rankings. I'm just saying that the young brother Erickson Lubin, he looks like he worked out. He got himself ready, and he had on the my guy Marvin Hagler.
He looks like he is living for the revenge.
Yeah, to
get back. I see it. I hear it in him. I can see it in him. I can see who he's sparring. I see what he's doing. He's putting in the work. I see everything he's doing, and I think I see what he's doing, man. And he's gonna make it interesting. We'll see if he gets to it. If he fight Mel again, it'll be an interesting fight. I still think Mel beats him because I think he lives in his head, number one. And I think number two, and here's what people got to understand, this is about Mel and Earl. They both fighting all the time, elite, and another elite fighter.
Not just that, but these guys spar.
That's my point. They're sparring. They're fighting. They're in there, and they got they got the same trainer. So you got a guy you're fighting who is sparring a unified welterweight champion, a top pound for pound guy, and guess what? He's being trained by, to me, the top trainer in boxing right now.
For the past couple years.
Nobody else has two unified champions that they're training. Nobody. And hell, Derrick James might have an undisputed champion and a unified champion who may be an icon. Now add that to the resume. Talk about a summer.
Man, bruh. Wow.
Hey, I want to call. Hey, DJ, we got to get DJ on the Zoom. We got to get him on the call, man. We got to get him on here. How was your summer, man? Oh man, I got two fighters. You got two fighters? Oh, for real? Tell me about your fighter. One of them undisputed, and the other one is unified and be the 8th division icon that everybody loves.
You may have heard of him.
You may have heard of him.
That's crazy, bro. Trainer of the year.
Yeah. He was a WBC trainer of the year. Now Reynoso, I think Reynoso got trainer, that's all the whole Canelo stuff. He got trainer of the year.
And then before that, they tried to throw someone else in front of him as well. But he's clearly trainer of the year. This guy got 2 unified champions. And said he does not want any more fighters.
He said, I'm done. He said, in order for me to pick somebody else up, like literally the spirit would have to hit him. It would have to be, but he's not looking, and he's saying no to everybody. It's got to be the right thing. So,
and once upon a time, he had Rob Brandt too.
Yeah, and which is interesting because Rob Brandt is over there with Bomac and Crawford. So that's really interesting. And I saw the interview with Rob Brandt. What do you think about Earl versus? He's like, oh man, I sparred Earl. I know about Derrick James, man. He said, Earl's a dog, and I got Earl beat Pacquiao. And they didn't ask him, what do you think about Earl and Crawford? They just asked him, hey, what is it like being with Bud? He said, oh, Bud's a great guy, man. He gives you pointers. He knows how to talk to people. So he was, again, Rob Brandt is a guy. I'm looking forward to watching his fight too. He's a guy that is, he's definitely had hella training. He's definitely been exposed to some interesting camps. So
Yeah, and almost set the record for punches in one of his fights.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
And then
it
left
should be
Derrick James right after that.
yeah.
I don't know what that was about, but
I think that was more about Derrick James and Rob Brandt.
could have
I think
been.
that was just I think that was Derrick James basically just saying, bruh, I got Mel and Earl, and I just
No,
don't have the time
I don't have the time.
committed.
I
Yeah.
just don't have the time. And I could
Just don't
totally
have the time.
understand that. I'd have been like,
Yeah.
Derrick, please, please.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
So
want to leave, but he got it though, man. I this is going, boy, he got what, back-to-back months?
Mel fight July
July.
and Earl fight August.
Sheesh. It's a hot summer, man.
And when Mel win, he gonna be at that fight in August. He hyped everybody. He said, "Oh, Earl." He said, "Oh man, he talking Mel talking all the shit for Earl." Mel like, "Oh no, Manny picked the wrong one." He said, "No, Manny made the mistake."
Yeah, and he love hyping up his people, man. He love hyping up his
He
people.
going in hard on Earl. He like, man, look, Earl gonna retire him. He's gonna retire Pacquiao. He said he gonna retire. He said, man, y'all don't know. Yeah, I hear y'all saying don't count Manny out. He's like, okay, you gonna count him out, all right.
I ain't counting them out, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna count to 10 on them because it
that's my
ain't
point.
gonna,
That's the count out. Exactly.
bruh. This ain't. I don't care. Listen, if Manny makes it to the last bill,
Mhm.
it ain't gonna look good. It's not gonna look good. There's no way this is gonna look good if he makes it to the last bill. His face is gonna be fucked up.
Yeah, look, he's gonna take a beating. It'll be an interesting fight. Can't wait to see it. August 21st, Battle Fight, T-Mobile Arena,
Yes,
Vegas.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's it for me, man. You got anything
Cool,
else
that's
you
all I
want to?
got too.
All
No,
right,
that's it. I'm good.
man. Love, peace, health, and success to you, Jay, and everybody else tuned in and listening. We're about
Same
to
to
get
you and your
about this
fam, bro.
place. Yes, sir.
Cool. Peace.
Yes, sir.